The fear of conflict is a powerful force that often governs our lives, making us avoid confrontation at all costs. Conflict, in its various forms, is often perceived as a negative experience, something to be feared, avoided, or resolved as quickly as possible. This fear is deeply rooted in our desire for harmony, peace, and acceptance, as we are often taught to value these over personal expression or standing firm in our beliefs. We tend to believe that conflict will lead to rejection, judgment, or even the end of relationships, and so, in an attempt to prevent this, we avoid conflict at all costs. However, in doing so, we open a door that invites the demon of resentment to enter our lives, quietly eroding our relationships and our inner peace. Avoiding conflict often comes from a place of fear of being misunderstood, rejected, or abandoned. We may convince ourselves that if we keep quiet, avoid certain topics, or simply agree with others, we can maintain the peace and avoid any form of tension. We may choose to remain silent in the face of injustice or remain passive when our needs are not being met, all in the name of preserving relationships or avoiding uncomfortable feelings. The desire to avoid conflict becomes so strong that we start to suppress our own thoughts, emotions, and desires, fearing that expressing them will create discord. Yet, by avoiding conflict, we often create an even deeper issue: resentment. Resentment arises when we suppress our true feelings in the face of conflict. It's the internal buildup of frustration, anger, and hurt that accumulates when we repeatedly sacrifice our own needs to avoid rocking the boat. When we allow ourselves to be steamrolled, when we fail to speak up for ourselves, or when we continuously give in to others to avoid conflict, we slowly begin to feel as if we are being taken advantage of. This feeling of being unseen and unheard creates an emotional imbalance. Over time, this emotional imbalance leads to resentment, a toxic emotion that begins to poison our thoughts, attitudes, and relationships. The fear of conflict, while initially motivated by a desire to maintain peace, ultimately leads us into emotional imprisonment. By suppressing our own needs and opinions, we deny ourselves the opportunity to express our true selves, and as a result, we lose touch with our authenticity. The more we avoid conflict, the more we feel disconnected from our own identity and voice. We become passive participants in our own lives, constantly seeking to please others at the expense of our own well-being. In this space, resentment builds silently, like a slow leak in a boat, gradually eroding our emotional stability. As resentment festers, it doesn't just affect our relationship with others, but it also begins to damage our relationship with ourselves. We start to believe that we are weak, that we lack the courage to stand up for what we believe in, and that our needs don't matter. The longer we avoid conflict, the more our self-esteem suffers. We become trapped in a cycle of self-doubt and frustration, where we feel powerless and unable to change our circumstances. Resentment toward others is often rooted in resentment for not having spoken up, for not asserting our boundaries, and for allowing ourselves to be treated in ways that are not in alignment with our values. It's important to recognize that conflict is not inherently negative. Conflict, when approached with respect and a willingness to understand, can be a powerful catalyst for growth, understanding, and deeper connection. Healthy conflict can lead to clarity, resolution, and the strengthening of relationships. It offers an opportunity to express our feelings, to stand up for ourselves, and to negotiate for our needs. The problem is not conflict itself, but our fear of it and our avoidance of it. When we avoid conflict, we close the door to these opportunities for growth and resolution, and in doing so, we invite resentment into our hearts. Learning to face conflict head-on is a crucial part of breaking free from the grip of resentment. It requires courage to speak up for ourselves, to express our feelings, and to assert our boundaries. It's about accepting that conflict is a natural part of life, one that can be handled with grace and respect. This doesn't mean that we must be confrontational or aggressive. Rather, it means we must be willing to engage in difficult conversations with openness, honesty, and compassion. One of the key elements of dealing with conflict is learning to approach it with a mindset of curiosity rather than fear. Instead of viewing conflict as something to be feared or avoided, we can see it as an opportunity to learn about ourselves and others. Conflict often arises from differences in perspective, and by engaging with it constructively, we can gain insight into the thoughts, feelings, and motivations of those around us. We can also gain clarity about our own beliefs and values, which can help us grow and evolve as individuals. By shifting our mindset and embracing conflict as a tool for growth, we can begin to reduce the power that resentment holds over us. Additionally, practicing effective communication is key to resolving conflict in a healthy way. Open, honest, and respectful communication allows us to express our feelings without attacking others or shutting down. It creates space for both parties to be heard and understood, and it fosters an environment where mutual respect and understanding can flourish. When we communicate effectively, we reduce the likelihood of resentment building up because we are addressing our concerns in real time rather than allowing them to fester beneath the surface. It's also essential to recognize that not all conflicts can be resolved perfectly, and that's okay. Some disagreements will require compromise, while others may require us to agree to disagree. The key is that we are willing to engage with the conflict, to stand up for ourselves, and to maintain our integrity regardless of the outcome. In doing so, we take control of our emotional well-being and stop allowing resentment to rule our lives. Ultimately, avoiding conflict in the name of peace only leads to deeper internal unrest and resentment. It is only by confronting conflict directly and with an open heart that we can prevent resentment from taking root. By embracing conflict as a natural part of life, practicing healthy communication, and asserting our boundaries, we can transform conflict into an opportunity for growth, connection, and deeper understanding. In doing so, we reclaim our peace, preserve our relationships, and free ourselves from the grip of resentment. Conflict no longer becomes a doorway for demons. Instead, it becomes a pathway to healing, growth, and authenticity. Control everything in our lives is a pervasive force that many of us grapple with. We live in a world that constantly tells us to take charge, to ensure everything is under our control, and to always be in command of every situation. From managing our careers to relationships, finances, and personal goals, the drive for control seems like an essential part of achieving success and stability. However, when we take control of everything, we risk inviting the demon of stress and anxiety into our lives. This illusion of control, which many see as a way to safeguard ourselves from uncertainty, becomes a trap that consumes our mental and emotional energy. In trying to manage everything, we overlook the importance of surrendering to the natural flow of life. The need to control everything stems from a deep fear of the unknown and a desire to minimize vulnerability. When we feel uncertain or uncomfortable, we instinctively try to seize control of the situation, believing that if we can organize, structure, and manipulate every detail, we can eliminate potential risk and avoid negative outcomes. This belief makes sense on the surface. By controlling everything, we think we can shape our future and guarantee success. But the reality is that life is inherently unpredictable. No matter how much we plan or how much we try to micromanage our circumstances, there are countless elements outside of our control. Yet despite this, we continue to cling to the idea that if we just try harder or control more, we can create a perfect, secure life. When we hold on tightly to control, we are often suppressing the natural flow of life. Life is full of uncertainty, change, and unpredictability, and when we try to force everything to go according to our rigid plans, we are rejecting the beauty of life's spontaneity. We may be missing out on valuable opportunities, connections, and experiences because we are so focused on controlling the way things must unfold. The desire for control also creates tension within ourselves. We become hyper-vigilant, constantly assessing situations, predicting outcomes, and trying to anticipate every possible problem. This tension is emotionally draining and keeps us in a perpetual state of anxiety. We fear that if we let go, things will fall apart, but in holding on so tightly, we create a mental and emotional prison for ourselves. As the need for control intensifies, we begin to experience the physical and emotional consequences of this anxiety-driven behavior. Stress becomes a constant companion, with our minds racing to keep up with the demands we have placed on ourselves. The constant need to plan, prepare, and adjust to every contingency leaves us feeling drained and overwhelmed. We become hyper-aware of potential threats, risks, and mistakes, and in doing so, we miss out on the present moment. We are so consumed with anticipating and controlling the future that we lose sight of the joy and peace that exist in the here and now. Our relationships also suffer, as we may try to control not just ourselves but also those around us. We may micromanage our loved ones, trying to steer them in the direction we think is best for them, even though they may have their own desires, paths, and needs. This sense of control can cause friction, distance, and resentment in relationships, as others may feel stifled or unsupported in their own growth. The demon of stress and anxiety that arises from trying to control everything is further fueled by perfectionism. Perfectionism is often born out of the desire to control every aspect of our lives to an unattainable standard. When we aim for perfection, we are setting ourselves up for failure because perfection is not a realistic or sustainable goal. Perfectionism leads to constant self-criticism, fear of failure, and dissatisfaction no matter how much we accomplish. It's an endless cycle of striving for an ideal that is impossible to reach, and in doing so, we perpetuate our stress and anxiety. We may become trapped in a mindset that says, if I'm not in control, I'm failing. And this mindset keeps us on a hamster wheel of relentless effort without fulfillment. It is important to recognize that surrendering control does not mean abandoning responsibility or giving up on our goals and dreams. It does not mean sitting back and letting life happen without any effort or planning. Instead, surrendering control is about accepting that we cannot control everything and learning to trust the process of life. It is about recognizing that there are forces beyond our understanding and that sometimes the best way forward is to let go of our need for certainty and allow things to unfold naturally. Surrendering control means being open to the unexpected, embracing change, and trusting that even when things don't go as planned, we will find a way through. It's about cultivating a sense of trust in ourselves and in life, knowing that we can handle whatever comes our way, even if we cannot anticipate it. One of the first steps in letting go of control is learning to trust the process. Life does not follow a linear, predictable path, and we cannot always control the outcomes, but we can control how we respond to the twists and turns along the way. By adopting a mindset of flexibility and resilience, we can navigate uncertainty with grace and patience. Trusting the process means accepting that there will be setbacks, detours, and challenges, but also understanding that these experiences offer valuable lessons and growth opportunities. Instead of fearing change, we can embrace it as a part of the journey. Overcoming the influence of monitoring spirits requires a proactive approach to self-awareness and discipline. A significant part of this battle involves taking intentional steps to protect your mind, heart, and soul from their harmful influence. Monitoring spirits are subtle, often manipulating your emotions and thoughts in ways that make it difficult to immediately recognize their presence. These spirits thrive when you are unaware or when you allow your vulnerability to be exploited. To break free from their control, it is essential to develop strategies that reinforce your inner strength, restore your peace, and keep your focus aligned with your true purpose. The first step in overcoming the influence of monitoring spirits is recognizing their presence. These spirits often disguise themselves in the form of negative self-talk, intrusive thoughts, and a constant feeling of being observed or judged. They might manifest as feelings of anxiety, fear, or paranoia, causing you to second-guess your decisions or question your worth. When you become aware of these subtle attacks, you can begin to take control of your responses. Awareness is powerful because it enables you to distance yourself from the negative thoughts or feelings that these spirits attempt to plant in your mind. Once you recognize their presence, you can refuse to accept them as truth and take steps to shift your focus away from their influence. An essential part of overcoming the influence of monitoring spirits is learning how to protect your mental and emotional state. The mind is a battleground, and monitoring spirits often attack by feeding negative thoughts and doubts into your consciousness. When your mind is cluttered with fear or self-doubt, it becomes difficult to make clear decisions, and you may feel paralyzed by indecision. These spirits feed on confusion, making it important to take charge of your thoughts by practicing mindfulness and redirecting your focus toward positivity. One way to protect your mental space is through affirmations. Positive affirmations are powerful statements that reinforce your worth, your abilities, and your belief in a higher purpose. Repeating affirmations daily can help reprogram your subconscious mind, replacing limiting beliefs and fears with empowering thoughts. Affirmations can act as a shield against the negative influence of monitoring spirits, reminding you of your inner strength and your right to peace and success. These affirmations should be focused on reinforcing your sense of self-worth, your confidence, and your connection to a higher power, ensuring that your thoughts align with your true purpose rather than the false narratives imposed by monitoring spirits. Emotional resilience is another key factor in overcoming the attacks of monitoring spirits. These spirits often seek to manipulate your emotions, triggering feelings of inadequacy, frustration, or helplessness. When you react emotionally to these attacks, you allow them to gain more power over you. The more emotionally reactive you are, the more energy you give to these spirits, allowing them to control your response to situations. To overcome their influence, you must cultivate emotional resilience by learning how to regulate your emotions, especially during times of stress or difficulty. Developing emotional resilience requires self-awareness and the ability to step back from intense emotions in moments of crisis. This might involve taking deep breaths, pausing before reacting, or engaging in practices such as meditation or prayer to center yourself. By learning to detach from the emotional reactions these spirits provoke, you can regain control of your response and avoid falling victim to their manipulation. It is essential to remember that your emotions are valid, but how you respond to them is within your control. Practicing emotional self-regulation helps you maintain your peace and prevents monitoring spirits from exploiting your emotional vulnerabilities. Another critical step in overcoming the influence of monitoring spirits is to protect your physical and spiritual boundaries. Monitoring spirits often work through external sources, such as toxic relationships, negative environments, or overwhelming pressures. To protect yourself from these influences, you must learn to set and maintain healthy boundaries in every area of your life. This includes distancing yourself from negative or unsupportive people, avoiding situations that drain your energy, and prioritizing your own well-being above all else. Setting boundaries is not always easy, especially if you are dealing with people or situations that demand your time, attention, or energy. However, when you allow others to infringe upon your personal space, whether emotionally, physically, or spiritually, you open the door for monitoring spirits to enter. These spirits often manipulate external circumstances to create chaos or confusion, but by setting clear boundaries, you can protect your peace and create an environment in which you can thrive. It is important to remember that setting boundaries is not about shutting others out or being selfish. It is about taking responsibility for your own well-being and creating the space necessary for healing, growth, and peace. In addition to protecting your physical and emotional boundaries, strengthening your spiritual life is a powerful defense against monitoring spirits. These spirits often seek to weaken your connection with your higher power, causing you to doubt your divine purpose or lose faith in the power that supports you. To protect yourself spiritually, you must prioritize your relationship with your faith or spiritual practice. This might involve regular prayer, meditation, or reading sacred texts that reinforce your belief in the divine presence in your life. Strengthening your spiritual foundation also means learning to trust in the higher power that guides you. Monitoring spirits may try to convince you that you are alone or that you must fight these battles on your own, but the truth is that you are never alone. When you maintain a strong connection with your spiritual source, you invite divine protection and guidance into your life. This spiritual connection serves as a shield against the attacks of monitoring spirits, allowing you to stand firm in your faith and your purpose. Another way to overcome the influence of monitoring spirits is to practice forgiveness. Holding on to past hurts, grudges, or resentment provides an open door for negative energies to enter your life. These spirits feed on unresolved emotional pain, using it to create division, bitterness, and distraction. By practicing forgiveness, you release the grip of these negative emotions and free yourself from the control that monitoring spirits have over you. Forgiveness is not about condoning the wrongs done to you, but about freeing yourself from the emotional burden of carrying anger or resentment. It is about choosing peace over pain and understanding that holding on to hurt only keeps you stuck in the past. Forgiveness is a powerful tool for healing, and when you forgive, you take back control of your emotional and spiritual well-being. As you forgive others, you also release the power that monitoring spirits have over your life. Finally, it is essential to stay committed to your personal growth and development. Monitoring spirits thrive on stagnation and complacency, and they will do everything in their power to keep you stuck in a cycle of fear and doubt. However, when you are actively growing, learning, and evolving, you create a force field that protects you from their attacks. Commit to improving yourself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Pursue your goals with passion and purpose, knowing that each step forward weakens the influence of these spirits in your life. The more you grow, the less power these spirits have over you. In conclusion, overcoming the influence of monitoring spirits requires a combination of awareness, emotional resilience, boundary setting, spiritual strength, forgiveness, and a commitment to personal growth. By proactively protecting your mind, heart, and spirit, you take control of your life and break free from the control these spirits seek to have over you. With these tools, you can rise above the attacks of monitoring spirits and move forward on your path to success and fulfillment. When dealing with the persistent influence of monitoring spirits, it is crucial to understand that they often exploit weak points in your life. One of the most effective ways to break free from their grasp is by practicing self-discipline. Self-discipline plays a key role in maintaining control over your thoughts, emotions, and actions, which is essential for fighting against the subtle manipulations of monitoring spirits. These spirits often thrive in an environment of chaos, indecision, or a lack of focus, and self-discipline serves as a powerful defense against their efforts to destabilize your inner peace. Self-discipline begins with recognizing that you have the ability to control your responses and decisions. Monitoring spirits often attack by creating distractions or planting doubts in your mind, causing you to question your direction or lose focus on your true purpose. This distraction is designed to pull you off course and away from your higher calling, leaving you vulnerable to further attacks. But with self-discipline, you can intentionally redirect your focus toward your goals, keeping your mind and spirit anchored in the pursuit of your purpose. One key aspect of self-discipline is developing a strong mental focus. When you allow your mind to wander or become consumed with negative thoughts, it becomes easier for monitoring spirits to exploit your vulnerabilities. These spirits often sow seeds of fear, insecurity, and confusion, leading you to feel overwhelmed or uncertain. To fight this influence, it is essential to maintain mental clarity and discipline. Practicing mindfulness and engaging in activities that help you clear your mind, such as meditation or prayer, can strengthen your mental focus. The more you train your mind to stay focused on positive thoughts and your true purpose, the less impact these spirits will have on your emotional and spiritual state. Another critical aspect of self-discipline in overcoming monitoring spirits is controlling your emotional responses. These spirits frequently provoke emotional reactions to create turmoil within your life. Whether through feelings of anger, frustration, guilt, or anxiety, they aim to create chaos that clouds your judgment and weakens your ability to make decisions. To combat this, practicing emotional self-regulation is key. When you feel yourself being triggered by negative emotions, it's essential to pause and take control of the situation. This might involve taking deep breaths, stepping away from the situation, or simply acknowledging your feelings without allowing them to control your actions. The more you practice emotional discipline, the more you will find that these spirits have less power over your reactions. Self-discipline also extends to the decisions you make in your day-to-day life. Monitoring spirits often attempt to influence your decisions, leading you to make choices that are not aligned with your highest good. They may encourage you to procrastinate, engage in harmful habits, or make decisions that are based on fear or insecurity rather than truth and wisdom. By exercising self-discipline, you ensure that your decisions are rooted in your higher purpose, and that they are aligned with your values and goals. Developing a routine or structure in your life can help you stay on track, make wise decisions, and resist the influence of these negative forces. Part of building self-discipline is also developing the habit of setting and achieving small goals. Monitoring spirits thrive when they sense indecision or lack of direction. They aim to keep you stuck in a state of uncertainty, preventing you from moving forward in life. By setting clear, achievable goals, you give yourself a roadmap to follow,